And we are about to get started right now with our amazing guest, Medea Benjamin from Code Pink. So the floor is yours, Medea, and we'll go from there.
So nice to be on with you. I am based in Washington, D.C. The group is Code Pink. It's a women-led, but not exclusively women, peace group. And you can find us on the web at codepink.org or on our social media. And we are a group that started over 20 years ago now after the attacks on the Twin Towers in the United States in 2001. And we said we should not use this as a justification to go to war. And of course, we were right in the disaster that was created with Afghanistan and Iraq. And ever since, we have been pushing for a foreign policy that's based on real diplomacy and using our money instead of making wars around the world to make people's lives better at home and overseas. And I've been a peace activist for, more than 50 years since the days of the
Wow.
Vietnam War. So yeah, been at this quite a long time. I wish I could say I've been more successful.
Oh, you are, I mean, to be honest, you are one of the most, one of like the heroes that we would say um, in the activism world, amongst the activists. What you have been doing is so significant. So please,
Can you hear me?
Taz's connection. Taz, can you hear us?
yes, can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Yes. We're
Okay.
back and good.
I don't know what happened. I apologize. Something glitched and it just kicked me out. Um, uh, So I was just saying what you have been doing is extremely significant, and I can't wait to see what more you can do. But let me just start with, what is the like the name Code Pink? Can you what is the origin of that name and the significance of the name?
Yeah, well, for younger folks, you don't remember, but after the 9/11 attacks, George Bush was president and he created this color coded alert system. So it was a color, it would yellow and orange and red, and it was meant to keep people in a constant state of fear to justify U.S. invasions, U.S. militarism. And we thought, no, we need another response, another color coded alert, and we tried to do code hot pink, but that was a porn site, so we couldn't get that. So we became just
Oh,
code pink. And it's funny, people always say, did you like pink before you created code pink? Because I wear pink almost every day. It's funny I'm not wearing it now. But no, I didn't like pink, but now I love pink because it means a lot to me. To It's a good branding. People can recognize us more easily. And to be honest, it makes me feel a little more upbeat in these horrible times when I am wearing pink because it's not so depressing as black like I'm wearing right now. But hey, colors aren't important. There's a genocide going on.
there absolutely is, and I love that story. Okay, Code Hot Pink is crazy, but Code Pink really does suit the name, the team. You guys are phenomenal. And to talk about the team, we saw recently during the Trump dinner the other day at the restaurant, the protests that broke out and how impactful that was. You guys were so close to Trump, right in his vicinity, like 2, 3 feet from him. How did that, how impact, like, how did that feel amongst the team for you to be able to address him face to face?
Well, I was on the outside of the restaurant. I wasn't able to get inside, but four of our Code Pink women were. And they were just ecstatic afterwards because they never thought they would get that close. And what was so amazing about it is that this was Trump's first outing during his second term to a restaurant. And it came on the heels of him saying, now that we've brought all these National Guard, all these troops, we've militarized DC, it's now a really safe place, and now we can go out to dinner. And there he took his cabinet. He went out with Pete Hegseth, with Marco Rubio, with J.D. Vance as vice president, and thinking they were going to have a really nice a night on the town and show how successful Trump has been in making DC, quote, safe. So that added even more significance to the fact that the Code Pink women got so close to him, were able to pull out their banners saying Free Palestine, chanting Free DC, Free Palestine, Trump is the Hitler of our time. And I thought it was just great.
It was amazing. It really was. And honestly, uh, you guys have been doing this for so long. And a lot of times we'll see like some activists will get burnt out, right? So how can activists avoid burnout and in such a long and often, like this very long struggle that we have been going through as, in the Palestinian struggle. How can people avoid the burnout?
Well, I know that most people are not lucky enough to have a job that's about activism, and so they have to do it on the side. And that means for some people, evenings and weekends. For other people, it means juggling family, kids, whatever. So I know it's not easy for people to carve out time regularly for activism, but I feel like the more active you can be, the easier it is to stay upbeat even during horrific times like this. I think I mean, I know the days that I don't have an action to do, a protest to join, I start feeling depressed as soon as I start looking at the news and thinking about what's happening in Gaza. And, to be frank, here in the United States, I'm living in Washington, D.C., and now in my neighborhood, which is on H Street Northeast, there are National Guard troops all over the place. And it is really depressing to see these armed guys in camouflage walking our streets. So activism is the antidote to depression. And then I'd also say that it's about having a community. And I feel so lucky to be part of a Code Pink community that's always changing because new people are constantly joining us. And we really have a great diversity in ages and in ethnicities. And it's lovely to be in that kind of a grouping of people who in these difficult times can come together and give each other encouragement. Like when the action happened at the Joe's Seafood, we were all jumping up and down and screaming and, feeling really happy about it. And we are constantly in the halls of Congress. We go every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and we encourage people to join us because, knock on wood, so far we still have the ability to go into our Congress, to walk into their offices, to encourage them to sign on to letters or resolutions. And for those of us who want to be a little more feisty, we can also run after them in the halls and ask them why they keep supporting genocide. So we're always encouraging more people to join us, and they can go to the website codepink.org under the events in DC and sign up to know where we're meeting that day.
Okay, amazing. And so, what was a moment in your activism career that changed you personally? Been doing this for like 50 years, you said. What moment could you remember that changed you personally, forever?
Yeah, I had one of those aha moments when I was in high school and I was 16 and my older sister had a boyfriend who was shipped off to Vietnam. And in those days, there was a draft. You had to go. And he was a really nice boy. And every month he would write her nice letters. And then as the time went on, they started getting weirder and weirder. And then he sent her a package and she was so excited about opening it up. And in it was the ear of the Viet Cong that he had killed, the quote enemy, with a string around it and telling her that she should wear it as a souvenir. And I was so disgusted by that. I remember going into the bathroom and throwing up and saying, what the heck is going on? They could turn
Oh
a
my
nice
God.
boy into a monster. And really, since then, I've been opposing war and trying to change my government's policy.
Wow. I think these moments are ones that you never forget, right? Like you just mentioned, you'll never forget this, and it changed the way you moved and what you did. Um, so, because I know we're limited on time, so I'm just going to ask like one more question and then give it to anybody that does have any questions. What do you say to young activists who feel powerless in the face of global conflict?
I say that we have power when we have unity. And I saw that on the streets of Washington on Saturday when we came together, people who were opposing ICE kidnapping people in our communities, opposing the military, and calling for a free Palestine. And it was so beautifully woven in. And of course, there are even more issues that are part of our struggle. But when we connect them, we have so much power. And I think this is a really dark time, but I've been through very dark times in my lifetime. When George Bush invaded Iraq on the basis of lies, saying there were weapons of mass destruction when there weren't, and U.S. soldiers were shipped to Iraq, where we killed countless, hundreds of thousands of Iraqis and so many soldiers who didn't know what they were doing, why they were going. I mean, that was a really horrible time as well. So we face these horrible times, but we fight back, we resist, we join each other, this too will pass if we rise up and make sure that it does.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree when you said unity. I think this is something that is so important that when we are all united, the power that we have is so significant. Um, do you feel like in all of your years of activism that there is more power now in the movement?
Well, there was a huge movement when I was young and we had the Vietnam War, and that was because we were all a part of it, unfortunately. We all had a family member who was being sent over there. And so it was a youth led movement. It was a really angry movement because 50,000 of our brothers and loved ones died over there. So that was a huge movement. I've seen big movements. When we were opposing the Iraq War, there was a very large movement. And there have been, big movements around the environment, around all kinds of issues. But now I think the movement is still getting its legs in terms of the kind of unity that we need. And so I think we're going to see a lot more of that unity as we go forward and people realize, one of the problems now is that so many people, especially young people, are afraid that speaking out is going to cost them their jobs, it's going to affect their careers.
Yes.
If they're not citizens, of course, they're worried about being picked up. And this has taken a lot of people out of the activism field. But I think that's all the more reason that those of us who have a little bit more privilege have to step up and make sure that we're doing our job.
And I have to ask you, how many times have you been arrested?
Oh, I couldn't count them because I've been arrested so many times on so many different issues that I really don't know. I mean, it's been many dozen times. I don't get arrested because I want to. I don't like being arrested, but I do it because I feel compelled to. And then sometimes I just get arrested for nothing. I mean, I was arrested 2 days ago and it was really a bogus arrest when I was merely in the halls of Congress asking a member of Congress, Southern California member Darrell Issa, what he could say about Israel's bombing of Qatar. And I just went down the hall in a I called him sir, I asked him nicely, and he called the police. And I couldn't believe that they arrested me. And they said that I impeded his walking in the hallway. Luckily, I have it all on tape. And so I'm sure, uh, I hope, that when it goes to court, they will drop it because they'll see what a bogus charge it is. But yeah, there are times when they just are trying to get us out of there. And because we legally have the right to be there, they look for ways to harass us, impede us, and yesterday was one of them for me.
Yeah, I did see that video. I did see that you were merely in the hallways, like you mentioned, and you were saying, I'm getting arrested for, no reason. But, continue doing what you're doing. And we are so proud of you, Medea. As a Palestinian, I thank you for everything that you're doing. And, I hope that there's more that we can do. I know you're part of the Lifeline for Palestine. We were watching it the other day. If you want to maybe just give a brief, like minute about what the UN resolution is and how we can move this change to end this genocide that's happening in Gaza right now, because as we're seeing, it's continuing. There looks like no movement for a ceasefire. And we just saw that Bibi Netanyahu signed the agreement for the settlement expansion in the West Bank, among saying that there will never be a Palestine that will exist. So if you can just kind of give a briefing on what you expect in the upcoming General Assembly as the one-year deadline comes for Israel.
Well, first, let me say about the flotilla, because I've been involved in flotillas now for years, trying to make it. I've been to Gaza 7 times, but that was under Mubarak when we could go in through Rafah. After the Arab Spring, we couldn't get in there anymore. And of course, under Sisi, he doesn't let people in through Rafah. And I've been banned from Israel. So, like others, not able to get in. But I am so thankful for all the people who are participating in this global Samud flotilla now. And in terms of the UN, there is just growing momentum. And now I think with the Israeli bombing of Qatar, even more momentum to say it's up to the UN to do something. They can't just keep passing resolution after resolution. And because the US vetoes any action coming out of the Security Council, the only way to do it is through the General Assembly under something called Uniting for Peace. They can pass a resolution that calls for, among other things, a protection force to be able to protect the people of Gaza, to protect the humanitarian aid and make sure that it gets in. And this is what many groups are calling for. And there are now several heads of state that are calling for this as well. And it's interesting, I just saw that a U.S. Senator, Maria Cantwell, has called for it too. So I think there is growing momentum. Whether it'll happen this time around or we'll have to keep pushing it after this session in September, who knows? But, there are just people all over the world so absolutely fed up with all of the governments that just keep saying, oh, this is terrible, this is terrible, and especially the Arab governments. And they have been condemning the Israeli strike on Qatar. And Qatar is convening an emergency meeting this weekend, and they say they want a unified Arab response. Wouldn't that be nice after almost 2 years if they actually did something? But I wouldn't hold my breath. That's why we are pushing at the UN. And as I said, if whether or not it happens now, I think the momentum is there, and we just have to keep pushing whatever ways we can. And the other thing I want to say is that countries are obligated by the Genocide Convention, the International Court of Justice, by not only international law, but their own laws to intervene and stop supporting genocide. So whatever happens at the UN said last year in its resolutions that Israel had to stop this, gave it 1 year, the 1 year is up. Now countries, whether they do it united through the Uniting for Peace resolution or individually, They are obligated to stop sending weapons to Israel, to cut off trade with Israel. They should be cutting off diplomatic relations with Israel. And that's where we all come in. And it's been exciting to see in some countries where they've been more successful than we have, like in Spain, that just made a
Yes.
significant announcement, and Ireland that has been trying to get their government to cut off trade relations, and the Netherlands, and Colombia and other countries in Latin America, the Hague Group. So there is momentum. It's agonizingly slow, and especially here in the United States. But I don't know how many of the people who are participating on this right now are from the U.S. But if you are, I would say I totally understand the disgust we have about our government, our White House, as well as our Congress, but it's what we have. And that's why I go in every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday pushing them. And we need to keep the calls coming in, keep the pressure on them. And slowly, slowly, they are changing. At least, there's now 27 senators that have said they should stop certain weapons going from Israel. There are 47 members in the House that have signed this bill called "Block the Bombs." So we are making headway slowly but surely.
Yes, I agree. We had actually Craig Mokhaber with us just last week, and he said the same thing. The tides are turning very slowly, but they're turning. And we need to do something a little bit to make it go a little bit faster. But yeah, absolutely, I agree. And we are seeing more Congress members saying that they will not accept money from APAC ever again. So that is another point. Go ahead.
Yes, absolutely, because the two that just announced it recently, Valerie Fouché and Deborah Ross, and a third one, Morgan McGarvey from Kentucky, are not particularly progressive. We have a ranking, and they were on our C list as opposed to the AB list. And they came out publicly and said they're not going to take APAC money. And I thought it was kind of funny to hear Donald Trump himself say last week that it used to be that APAC had that Israel had the strongest lobby of any country, any corporation, any business in the United States, but now that is changing. And he said it used to be that you couldn't be a politician and speak badly about Israel, but that is changing. And I think that he is understanding that the public opinion shows the vast majority of people now don't want to keep supporting Israel, even people in the Republican Party, and that people like Marjorie Taylor Greene are representing the MAGA base more than Trump is. And when we see Republicans who we see, every day, we say to them, what is this garbage you say about America first when it's all about Israel first? So I think it's like a dike, and you see that there are these holes and it's just about to burst. But the only way it will burst is if we keep, and we not just keep up the pressure, but accelerate the pressure.
Yes, I am happy to see it. I agree. Seeing the shift, especially, like you mentioned, Marjorie Taylor Greene, many of us would not have expected to see this rhetoric that she's saying and what she's coming out and saying. So, I can't wait to see more of a change amongst many others. I'm going to give a chance for everyone to also join in and ask any questions that they might have. So I'll start with
Hi, Medea.
Linda. Go ahead. Go ahead, Linda. Salam Nada.
Hi, Medea. It's great to finally meet you. On behalf of Palestinians everywhere, I thank you for all that you do. My question is as follows. Many Americans may not understand the local Free DC versus the international Free Palestine references in the chants. How do you frame the connections with explaining CODEPINK's work to the broader public? And if you can elaborate what the central message you intended to send with the Feast While Gaza Starves and the Free DC in itself?
Yeah, well, we talk about occupation, and I mentioned that I can just go down the block here where I live and see armed very intimidating troops in camouflage uniforms. That is not a free DC. The federal government has been taking DC's money. They took $1 billion from us, has been trying to stop DC from doing its own legislation, and of course, refuses to make DC a state, which it should be. So that's part of the free DC part. And the free Palestine. I don't have to tell you and the others in this call how Palestine has been under occupation for many, many decades now. And so I think, given that we are in DC, people really did understand the connection between occupied from DC to Palestine, occupation is a crime, which is another chant that we use quite often here.
Thank you so much, Linda. We'll go next to Eucalyptus.
Hi, Medea. How's it
Hello.
going? This is the second time I talk with you. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to chat with you. My question for you is, when when you were growing up in the kibbutz, could you give us some details about the community? Did they teach you to hate Palestinians?
You're referring to when I was in a kibbutz. I was there twice. Once when I was 17, and from 15 and 17, I was in a kibbutz called En Gedi that was on the Dead Sea. And there were beautiful things about the kibbutz. It was supposed to be a socialist kibbutz at that time. En Gedi was one of the more socialist of the kibbutzim, and it was so radical in some ways that at that time, if you had children, the children after maybe about 2 years would grow up in a house that was for the kids, and the parents would not be bringing up their kids. It would be this communal children's house where the kids would grow up. The parents would be working in the fields, and it was an agricultural kibbutz, and we would work under the sun day in and day out. And I loved the work. And I love that kind of collective spirit. But it was right at the time of the 67 war. And so there was then an intense nationalist fervor. And I started seeing the hatred towards Arabs, not just Palestinians, but Arabs in general. And that was something quite shocking to me. It reminded me of my high school in the U.S., where I grew up in a suburb of Long Island, where it was a white community with Black folks starting to move in, and the kind of hatred and racism among the white community. We had helmeted and armed police in the halls of our schools. So I started seeing the uglier side of Israel. But I must say, it did take me a while to do my history and learn about the Nakba, learn more about whose land the Israeli state had been built on. And it was over the years, of course, the more I learned, the more horrified at the narrative that I had been taught as I was growing up, because my parents were great supporters of Israel, and we would celebrate all kinds of things, from birthdays and anniversaries, by sending money to plant trees in Israel. And so it did take me quite a while to unlearn what I had learned.
Wow. Thank you so much, Eucalyptus. Thank you. Wow, what a story. I actually did not know that. So thank you, Eucalyptus, for asking. And thank you, Medea, for sharing. We'll go next to Nadir.
Medea. And now he also taking the time here يعني don't be selfish يا زلمة.
Yeah, hello again, Medea. Yeah,
Good to
so,
see you always.
yeah, so, I just want to say that, I went after this morning's, the canvassing. I had to go to Fredericksburg, so I had to drive about an hour away to go, to pay some condolences to somebody from our community that passed away. And in Palestinian culture, as with other cultures, you go into a room and there's a lot of people there, and they're all sitting around in a circle, and they're talking, and it's unfortunately it's almost as if nothing happened. They talk about business and they talk about life, and I'm sitting there. I was sitting there. I wasn't talking to anyone, and I'm looking around and I'm saying, boy, I don't know why these people cannot, the same way that they're here to pay their condolences, which is a beautiful thing to do. It would be so nice if they would gather and, join a group like Code Pink and, canvass the halls, of Congress.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I was thinking about, to be honest with you, is that, we gather for events, and these are the people that really need to come out in full force and make that effort. So I was thinking about the whole time. I wasn't going to come up here. I didn't really have much more to share, but I really think that we need to, and I'm willing to, help with this. But all I could think about was, I need to contact these people and tell them that, they already know how to do this. They really do. They just need to do it. And we really need just more people, because from what I saw today and what I've always seen, I mean, from the actions of Code Pink, that it really does make a difference. And I've been saying this for so long, that it's just a numbers game at this point. I mean, we just need more people. We need to show up in large numbers, and we have the numbers. We have them. I mean, there's a lot of room in that, in the halls of Congress for a lot of people to be going around and talking and just speaking from the heart and letting these politicians know that it's okay, that we can be there for them as well, as long as they're doing the right thing. And here we are. And I think that's really, it takes a lot more than that, but that's just one of the things that we really have to do. And I hopefully, in the coming days, we can talk about these things and try to really focus an effort. And everybody can do this in their own states. They don't have to be in Washington to do this. But
Yeah.
your politicians have their local offices in their districts, and it's not a difficult thing to do. It's not something that takes so much time. And the same way that we gather to pay our condolences for loved ones, we can gather to pay our condolences for the people of Gaza, by taking some action, at least by taking some action once a week, once every couple of weeks, whatever it is. But I think we owe that to them. And, I hope that whoever's listening to this can just think about the people in your neck of the woods, your family and your friends. It doesn't even have to be strangers. I mean, you could start with your family and your friends. Say, hey, how about the three of us go visit our congressman's office? Let's just go. Let's go make it a thing. We'll have lunch afterwards. Let's just go do it. I think the people of
Yeah.
Gaza are owed that, and it's very easy for us to do. That's really all I have to say.
Yeah, I agree. And I was actually going to ask, following up with what Nadir said, would you say that if there were more people that showed up at when you do go to these meetings, in the hallways, would you say that the more people that there would be more of an impact, or would it be the same? Like what if if we were to have more people gathered together to protest and to be at these, meetings, what would you say that it would make a bigger impact?
If I
Oh,
can say one,
yeah.
if I can just interject real fast, I think it would also help that if there were just different groups, you don't have to even be part of an organization to do this. I mean, I think it might even be more meaningful, that it's not just Code Pink, that it's everyone. And, just to show them that, and to impress upon them that it's not a matter of any single organization. It's what the people want. And so even just to go out, whether it's a part of Code Pink or a part of, with Code Pink or with another organization, or just on your own. But I believe that the numbers matter. But go ahead with it. Sorry, I just wanted to say that real quick.
No, and I want to thank you for the times you've come to join us and the great story you told me today about the hunger strike you did to meet directly with your member of Congress, which is really inspirational. And to say that we have trained a lot of people and groups on how to do this. We're willing to share our entire spreadsheet that's got the staff names of everybody in Congress that deals with foreign policy issues. We take people around just to show them how you can do it. And then they can go off on their own. And we were working with Doctors Against Genocide, for example, when they first started. And now they're just wonderful the way they go off and meet with their representatives. And something else you said about it doesn't matter if you're doing it in Washington or in your district. In some ways, it's more impactful to do it in your district. It's a little ironically harder because you have to have a meeting set up in the district usually to be able to even get into the building, whereas here in Washington, D.C., you can just walk into their offices. And then in terms of the numbers matter. I mean, we've been told that we are out organizing the groups like APAC in terms of the calls, but not in terms of the office visits, that they are visiting constantly. And so the numbers do matter, and they need to see us, and they need to see that we're ordinary people and we're coming from all walks of life. And I do want to say to the people who are Palestinian or Arabs in general, when we have folks from the region or from the diaspora, it does make a difference. And I know in some ways it's harder for Palestinians to do this work in Congress because oftentimes you just feel that they don't care and it's too emotional. But when people do come and they're able to say, I have relatives in the region, I have a family in the West Bank or in Gaza, whatever, it does have a big impact. So I do encourage more people to join us. And as I said, also in the districts, and as far as CODEPINK is concerned, we have a lot of chapters now, and you can find them online. And there might be a chapter where you live, and you could do that with a group locally.
There's no chapter, Medea. I mean, potentially, maybe they could start up a chapter. No.
Absolutely. It's very easy, and we have staff to give you the ABCs about how to do it.
Everybody's
Wow.
got to take advantage of of the experience, the expertise, and the knowledge, and the tools that Code Pink has put together. I mean, they know how to do this, and they do it very well, and they're known in the capital. They are very, very well known. And I told Medea today. I said, I don't think there's anybody that's been arrested as many times as you have in this building. And she's very well. Code Pink is a prominent organization here in DC and across the country. But take advantage of the tools. Go to the website, take a look, reach out, and if there is no chapter in your city or in your town, maybe that's something you want to consider. And if it's not you, maybe you know someone that would be willing to do so. Just maybe they just don't know that they can. So
Yeah,
be
like
a little
somebody
bit
was
more
asking
proactive.
somebody was asking if there's a Palm Beach chapter, Medea.
I think there is, but you can go online and see if there is or one near there. But I'm pretty sure there is.
Okay, perfect. And thank you so much, Nader, for that. I agree with you 100%. We'll go next to our brother Sirdah, who is in Gaza, live with us right now. So go ahead, brother Sirdah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Medea, I want to test your memory. You remember me?
Oh, yes. Hello. How are you? So good to hear your voice. Oh, my goodness. Wow.
Welcome, Medea. Welcome. Allah, I'm glad I meet you again. Welcome, Medea. Elias, he is laughing here in the comment. Okay, Elias, okay. So It's always we honored to have you in any panel here, Wallah, Medea, and always I'm glad to talk to you, Wallah. You are one of the best, maybe the best, because I know the other, but from like my view, you are the best. And if the other want to like say, oh, we are the best, let them like off. Okay, you are the best according to me. So Medea, I have a question. Like you are working in these things like since while, since ages, yani. So how do you think, how you are seeing the reaction from the Bali, from the pro-Bali, from the Arab, from anyone who is care about the humanitarian and what is going in Gaza and in the West Bank and everywhere in Palestine now, is the number which the people they are become awareness and active going up or it's going down? Not just awareness, the number of the awareness like it's going up absolutely, but awareness and active, the people in the protest, the people which they are boycotting, the people which join to you, like it's the same number 1 year ago, it's this higher, less. How you are reading this, yani, and what we can do more? Yani, unfortunately, Medea, we are talking now about, especially in Gaza in these days, we are talking about we are in the last minute to be or not to be, and everyone knows that. And yesterday was one of the worst night, wallah al-azim, one of the worst night which I live it since the beginning of October 7. Yani the shelling yesterday didn't stop for a 1 second, and they are trying to evacuate the people from Gaza. And we know if they success this time to evacuate the people from Gaza, it will be the end of the Palestinian cause forever, because they will follow the people to the middle area, after that to Rafah, after that to Sinai, after that they will go to the West Bank, and this war will not be done. So we are in the last minute. What the world should do, what the activism should do, what we should do more to end this, to at least if we didn't success to end this, at least to ensure if they analyze us, okay, to make sure the people will wake up. Wallah, I am ready to give my soul now. Now, in this moment, I am ready to give my soul to end of this, what is going, or to make sure like no one will live this situation again. So what do you think the world should do, the people, especially the people in the West? Yani, I know it's too long a question, but forgive me. I will use your time as much as I can.
Oh, well, so wonderful to see you. And there are no words to express the solidarity that we have, and hopes that you will hang in there until this changes. And I keep thinking every day, it's going to have to change. I was in Congress today, Nader, after you left. We were actually got a chance to talk to some of the senators, and we said to them, is it a game changer that Israel has bombed Qatar, a U.S. ally? Isn't this now at least, the time for you to speak out and condemn this? And actually, some of them who haven't been very vocal have said that they're very unhappy about that. Trump himself said he was unhappy about that. And as I mentioned, the UN meeting coming up, I think, is a time when we're going to see a lot of countries. They're afraid. They're afraid of the United States. They're afraid of Israel. And yet they have people in their countries by the hundreds of thousands and sometimes even in the millions coming out on the streets. So the demonstrations have been huge. And as you know, the public opinion is so much on the side of the Palestinians. It's where the sympathy is. It's like, how do we force our governments to act? And that's why I think that we're starting to see enough countries saying we're not going to have trade relations. We're going to be cutting it off. I mean, Ursula von der Leyen, who has been awful, has just said she thinks that the EU and the Israel should cut the trade deal that they have. So it is happening, and I think we're going to see a lot at the UN in the next couple of weeks. So let's just keep the pressure on all of our governments to say that it is a watershed moment when Israel bombs the negotiators in an allied country, and that if you don't care about the suffering, the Palestinian people, every day since October 7th, going on 2 years right now, care about what might happen if the whole region explodes, which could very well happen.
And inshallah, the things will change. Last question. Did Nader today give you my book? Wallah, he didn't even mention it. Because he always, I am going with your book everywhere and to the Congress and to the, and he didn't even mention it for you.
I never said I was taking it to Congress, Sardah. You know, I went on a hunger strike, damn it, for you. Okay? No, I didn't. But you know what? It's a great idea. I'm going to hand her a copy, of course, the next time. And I'm glad you reminded me now to try to shame me, Sardah. Very nice of you. Very kind of you.
I can't wait to get it and to read it. Thank you.
Inshallah, inshallah. And then just for, while we wrap it up, Medea, what are just some words of hope for people, for activists, or some encouragement, words of encouragement, to get the people up and going, to do more, to call their Congress members, to call their representatives? What are some words of encouragement that you can leave for everyone?
Well, I get encouraged when I do the scrolling like so many people do of the social media, and I see the enormous demonstrations. And I was really uplifted when I saw in the film festival how the story of Hind Rajav led to a record breaking 23-minute standing ovation. And I think that it was perhaps, yes, for the film itself, but also a standing ovation for the people of Palestine, the resistance that we are seeing, and the solidarity that people are feeling around the world. I am encouraged, when I go into Congress, maybe the congressperson isn't saying no more weapons to Israel, but their younger staff are, and they often come running out in the hall to see us after we've been in, or in the cafeteria, or even in the bathrooms, to say, thank you so much for being here. We are with the Palestinian people. We are trying to push our bosses to be better about this. And so we have the younger generation. And that means that in terms of the future, we're not going to have this old guard that thinks Israel is the land of the Jews and that the Jews are the chosen people. We're going to have a different narrative, and that will change the game. Of course, the people in Palestine are suffering so much every day as this narrative is changing. But I thank you and all of you who are on the call for the work that you do day in and day out. And together we will keep struggling until this nightmare is over and we see a free Palestine. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank
Taz,
you.
is it
And
okay if I
This is the
say
book.
one thing before she leaves? Medea, we were talking the other night, and I just want you to know that that protest at the restaurant is our sandal in Bush's face. It's our version of it. It was
oh,
huge. It
yes.
was so impactful. You all are amazing. Thank you once again.
Oh, thank you
And
so much.
just I want Ilyas, just real quick, our brother Ilyas, if he
Before
wants to
Elias,
just
yeah,
sit,
Taz,
if he
before
can.
Elias, wait a minute. Nader trying to say something, guys.
Yeah, this is the book. This is your copy, Medea.
Beautiful.
This is the book that Sardah wrote.
Can't
So
wait to
that
get
I
it.
have an extra copy. I'll make sure I'll catch
Wallah,
Medea and give it to her.
wallah,
We'll
wallah,
see who
wallah,
gets it
I'm
to her
Nader the
first.
best, and Elias also. عرفنا.
No, but I just want to
عمي
highlight
نادر, like,
our,
Nader is
our
my uncle, يعني.
our
Just
brother
one
Sardah.
second. Yeah, go ahead, Ilyas.
Yeah, our brother Sardah, he's literally telling us, he's feeling at the last moments. And Medea is showing us there is a way that we can take action. So I definitely encourage everyone to go to the website and do the research and take action. This man is telling you he's feeling he's at the last moments and lived the worst night since October 7th. So yeah, definitely continue taking action. Medea, we really appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you so much, Medea, for joining us. And I can't wait to see more upcoming videos that you put together, more upcoming protests that you and your amazing team put together. And I encourage everyone to be part of it and to join in. And thank you again, Medea, for being with
Thank
us
you.
tonight.
Much love to all of you.
We
Thank
love
you.
you. Good
Solidarity.
night.
هو انت جد الأحرار جد الفلسطيني